The moment I was born, I was forgotten. I was birthed and bathed and set aside. If it wasn't for my screaming, the nurses and attendants would have cleaned up the operating room and just walked away, leaving me naked and alone and so hungry. Luckily, my screams pierced deep into some instinct, and a nurse shifted her body enough that she caught sight of me out of the corner of her eye. I don't know what she said or what happened after that. I don't even know what I was thinking, since thought was such a new concept for newborn me. But if I had to guess, I was probably thinking, where was everyone? Where was my mother? Where was the warmth and security of being held? I know, those are advanced and lofty thoughts for a person only a few minutes old. But I've always been a quick study, so I wouldn't put it past tiny me to be thinking along those lines. I was taken to the nursery and promptly forgotten again as soon as the nurse left. Once more, luck was on my side, and I happened to be next to 4 other crying, sleeping, pooping, yawning newborns. What I wouldn't give to see the looks on the nurses' faces every time they came into the nursery and saw me. I can only imagine what they said.
What the hell? Where'd this guy come from? Somebody check the charts!
You'd think it would be easy to remember a child just born, especially if it's your job. You'd also think it'd be easy to remember when there's a new mother in a hospital room, waiting for her baby to be brought to her. Except that last part, the important part. The part about my mother waiting for me. That didn't ever happen. It wasn't until I was older that a social worker told me my mother had died in childbirth, leaving me all alone in this cruel world, always left behind, always forgotten. I never saw that social worker again because guess what? She forgot about me. Yeah, she had a file, and once a month, she'd open that file and get a nice little surprise. Bonus case!
Where did that come from?
Is what I'd imagine she'd have said to herself. She'd probably pick up the phone and call my foster mother about me. And, unless I was within my foster mother's line of sight, she would have replied,
Who? Kid Doe? Never heard of him. You got the wrong file, lady.
That would lead to an in-person visit, because the social worker didn't have the wrong file, and lo and behold, I would be discovered all over again.
Oh, right. This little shit.
My foster mother loved to make their social worker glare and frown.
I can't never seem to remember he even lives here half the time. Hello, kid.
The social worker would ask me to sit on the couch with her as she went over my file.
That's an interesting name. Hospital named me.
Which was true. Never name a Doe on my file. That part stuck at least. But only because there were now duplicate files. One at the hospital, and one having been processed through child services. I was 6 when that social worker came by to tell me my story, or the story that was in my file. I never saw her again. No clue why. Maybe my file was lost. Maybe she got another job and the new social worker didn't know to look for me. Not that the old social worker knew either. I was just an out of sight, out of mind kind of kid. Just like I'm an out of sight, out of mind kind of adult. I still go by Kid Doe, because a name is a name, and that's been the only constant in my life. And as I sit in this chair, waiting for the hotel room door to open, I think about what it's like to be forgotten the second someone looks away from me. Because that's what happens. That's my life. I can spend hours with a person, talking and laughing and eating and drinking, sharing stories and memories and secrets. But the moment they turn away and can no longer directly see me, I am lost to them. Any memory of me is wiped clean and, depending on the amount of time between sightings, possibly gone forever. It makes dating nearly impossible. The pistol rests in my lap, my right hand casually draped across it, my eyes glued to the door. I'll have maybe 4 seconds to act when that door opens. My hope is it'll be a quick one without any hiccups. I do not like hiccups. Hiccups are how you get shot. Been there more than once, and would rather not be there again, thank you. I left my foster mother's house when I was 8. I'd had enough. Enough neglect, enough isolation, enough abuse. And when everyone forgets you, it's pretty easy to pack up and walk out the front door without a single soul trying to stop you. With a backpack full of my 3 changes of clothes, my 1 extra pair of tennis shoes, a toothbrush, and my stuffed elephant, I left that house and never looked back. It was my turn to forget something. The world is not a nice place for an 8-year-old. There are some downright bastards out there who would just love to get their hands on a kid like me. A runaway without any ties. I was a diddler's dream. Except all I had to do was run around a corner and Chester the molester forgot all about me. Same with curious cops or concerned Karens. I was scared and lonely, but I was never hungry. I was never broke. I was never cold. A store clerk would glance at me when I came in, and then that'd be that. The second their attention returned to their magazine or whatever, I didn't exist. Chips, jerky, candy bars, sodas, it all went into my backpack. If I was caught, I'd just run in circles until the clerk lost sight of me. Then I'd walk out the door like it never happened. Kids learn fast, and I learned faster than most. A knock on a door, and I would know instantly by who opened that door whether or not I had a warm place to stay in. It was easier to hide in plain sight amongst a family than it was to hide with a single person. In all of the household chaos, all I'd have to say is,
I'm your daughter's friend.
or,
I stayed over with your son. You talked to my mom, remember?
they never remembered because I was lying my pants off. But what self-respecting parent wants to admit that a child in their house, supposedly in their care, just doesn't ring a bell? They would smile and nod and get me a bowl of cereal. All the while I could see them puzzling it out. Of course, I had to say it all over again when they turned their backs to get the milk from the fridge or the sugar pops from the cupboard. It's probably why I'm such a great liar. There isn't a situation on this planet I can't talk my way out of. Yes, I have the advantage of the short game. No long cons with me. I only have to be convincing enough to not get shot or beat up or arrested before I'm forgotten all over again. The arrested part is the worst. You want to see an angry cop? Like a really angry cop? Just try being me handcuffed in the back of a cruiser. Each time the cop looks in the rearview mirror, they almost have a heart attack because they think they're seeing me for the first time. I've been tased, beaten with batons, kicked over and over, thrown into muddy ditches, thrown into oncoming traffic, and shot 3 times. Staying away from cops is a pastime of mine. Keeping myself from ever being handcuffed again is a lifeline. I have a feeling I'm only 1 interrogation room away from never waking up again. Cops don't like surprises. I see a shadow pass by the hotel room door and grip my pistol. But it's only some other guest walking by on the way to their less than luxury accommodations. Sometimes I get lucky, and my targets are holed up in a Westin penthouse or an Omni suite. This job has me in a Holiday Inn off I-40 in Kansas. No turn-down service here. No mints on the pillows. Clean sheets and towels are the bare minimum, and I wouldn't want to put a black light to either, if I'm being honest. My target should know that they are on a kill list. The people I tend to do jobs for aren't non-profit charities or philanthropic organizations. I take jobs from lowlifes and scumbags, CEOs and boards of directors, off-the-books government agencies, and long-established secret societies, crime syndicates, and ruthless dictators. My services keep the wheels greased with blood, because blood, not money, is what makes the world go round. A shadow pauses at the door and I lift the pistol, casually aiming it at the hotel room's tiny entryway.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping? It's 11 o'clock at night. That's not housekeeping. 3 more knocks.
Housekeeping.
I hear the buzz, then click of the door's lock disengaging. I watch the sliver of hallway light appear, then widen until someone small, slips inside the room and closes the door, returning everything to the darkness I prefer. A sniffle. No, a sniff. The small someone is smelling the air.
Hello? Mr. Chabon? Housekeeping?
A woman. Another sniff. The shadowed form by the door doesn't move. Then I hear the distinct noise of a slide being drawn back as the unknown visitor cocks her gun. I fire twice, and the second shot produces a loud grunt.
Son of a bitch!
The woman immediately yanks open the door and slips out into the hallway. I get up to follow in no hurry. When I get to the hallway, she's gone, except for the drops of blood showing me which direction she fled in. A decision is at hand. Do I follow and finish her off? Probably not a bad idea. A better idea is to follow and snatch her for questioning. This wasn't an open bid job. This was exclusive to me. Or that's what I was told. I wouldn't mind finding out what she was told. The other option is to pack it up and call it a night. I could just go back to the Airbnb I rented and kick back, drink some beers, order some pizza, and wait for a certain phone call. Then I'll ask the person on the other end of that call what the motherfucking hell is going on. Both options aren't without their difficulties. This new player, this woman, she might be highly skilled. I'm good, better than most, but I have never really had to rely on hand-to-hand or weapon skills to stay alive. All I have to do is pull the shirt up over an attacker's head and poof. No memory of who they are fighting. I once punched a guy so hard in the balls that he squeezed his eyes shut for like 10 whole seconds. When they popped open, I was leaning against a dumpster, acting like a drunk. The guy with the bruised balls didn't even glance at me. He just limped past, very confused. It's really a wonder that anyone even tries to take me out. Curiosity wins out, and I follow the droplets of blood down the hallway and to the bank of elevators. The first one that opens is clean, so I let it return. When the second car arrives, I see the drops of blood and step on. The lobby would be the obvious destination when one wants to escape, but I see a smear of red on the button with 10 on it. She's heading to the rooftop bar. Yes, this Holiday Inn has a rooftop bar. They'd have to, or the 2-star reviews would scare off every potential guest. I press the button and take a ride to the top. When I was 15, I decided I wanted to learn how to drive. So I taught myself in a Walmart parking lot, having borrowed an older Honda from a nice woman who didn't even notice me slip her keys out of her coat pocket. Man, when you never have to deal with running away from a mark, you'll learn how to become an expert pickpocket. I had all the practice and failures in a week that most pickpockets get in a decade. So, with a Honda sliding on the slick pavement of the Walmart parking lot, I taught myself how to drive. And we aren't talking keeping your hands at 10 and 2 kind of driving. I power slid that Honda around and showed it who was boss. Security tried to chase me, but I'd just drive around back and they'd forget all about me. By the time that old lady came back to her car, I'd pretty much trashed it and was long gone. I only got better from there. Now, standing in a different kind of car, I check my pistol for the 3rd time as I slowly rise up through the spine of the Holiday Inn. I don't know. Something doesn't feel right. There's a hitch in my guts that tells me I should stop the elevator at the 9th floor and get off there. I can take the stairs down to the lobby and slip out the back door. When I have the urge to check my pistol a 4th time, I just go ahead and press the button for 9. The elevator slows, stops, dings, and the doors slide open. Half a dozen men with automatic weapons all turn and stare at me. Or I think they stare at me. It's hard to tell with the cheesy sunglasses they have on.
It's 11 at night, fellas,
I say and raise my pistol.
Might want to take those off.
I fire off 4 shots before twisting to the side, pressing my back against the bank of buttons as the fellas get their shit together and open fire. I hear only 3 weapons, so I must have tagged at least half of their group. Not bad for blind firing while dodging out of sight. The weird part is they keep shooting. They can't see me. They should have forgotten what they were doing and who they were doing it to. But they are still unloading their magazines into the elevator. My hand scrambles behind my lower back, and I feel for the braille symbol where the lobby button is. I press it, and the doors close while a couple of bullets ricochet and ping around the elevator. I duck into a crouch, covering my head, hoping I don't catch one of those stray rounds. It makes me think of the day I walked into a pawn shop for the first time, thinking I could boost whatever I wanted. Except I didn't count the security cage at the front door. That thing slammed down tight on me when the tag on the Discman I stole went off. I had to stand there as the owner of the shop walked toward me, a sawed-in-half baseball bat slapping rhythmically against his leg. He pointed that bat at me and sneered.
You stepped into the wrong shop, kid.
His eyes locked onto me.
From the looks of you, I'm guessing you ain't got no folks waiting at home. Shit, kid. I doubt you got a home. When was the last time you took a goddamn shower? I can smell you from here.
I didn't say a word, only watched him approach, ready to make my move the second the cage opened. When he reached me, he slammed that bat against the bars of the cage and laughed.
Little stinky rat is what I caught.
He stabbed the bat at me and looked down at my hands.
What you got there, kid? A Discman? You take that so you can listen to that hip-hop crap? I like jazz.
The look on the guy's face was worth getting caught. He took a step back, studied me up and down, then folded his arms across his chest, the bat sticking up like an angry exclamation mark in his hand.
You like jazz, do you?
He angled his head over his shoulder, his eyes still on me.
You hear that, Russ? The kid likes jazz over hip-hop.
A voice comes from the back of the shop.
Lot of the same rhythms. Half the samples in hip-hop are stolen from the greats. Shit. Most of the punks out there couldn't tell you who Miles Davis is, but they can tell you what one of his riffs sound like.
The guy in front of me focuses all of his attention on me again.
You know who Miles Davis is, kid? Bitches Brew, Kinda Blue, Milestones, Miles Ahead, Get Up With It, Steamin'. Oh shit, Russ! The kid knows his Miles!
Yeah, I heard.
The guy in front of me points the bat at the top of the cage.
Audio and video surveillance. Our cousin installed it last month. Russ can hear everything you say. Then why are you yelling back at him like some old retarded asshole?
I point at the top of the cage, mocking him.
Can he hear you?
There's a laugh from the back, and the guy in front of me glares.
Open the cage, Richie.
What? No way, Russ. The little shit stole from us.
I didn't say to let him go. I said to open the cage.
And do what? Give him a hug?
Jesus Christ, Richie.
The scraping of chair legs and scuffing of feet echoes down the aisles. In seconds, the largest man I'd ever seen comes walking down the aisle in front of me, a cane in one hand, a shotgun in the other.
Open it.
He waved the shotgun in my direction, and in his brother's direction.
Christ, Russ! Watch where you're swinging that scattergun!
Shut up and open the cage, Richie.
Turned out, the guy with the baseball bat wasn't the only owner. Nope. The pawn shop I'd walked into was owned and operated by the Rush brothers, Russell and Richard. I would end up calling them the Brothers Pawn. Richie hated it. Russ humored me. "What's your name, kid?" Russ finally reached the cage. The guy was huge. Not just tall, but fat as fuck. He looked like a corn-fed linebacker who'd gone to seed, and just kept going to seed until there weren't no more seeds left for him to go to. Richie slammed the bat against the cage.
Answer the damn question, boy! Kid.
Both Russ and Richie shook their heads like I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. I sighed because I was used to it. I don't know how many cops had slapped me upside the head when I gave them that answer.
It's my damn name, okay? Kid Doe.
Kid Doe? I suppose that could be a hip-hop name or a jazz name.
He leaned close to the bars.
Which is it, Kid Doe? Are you jazz or are you hip-hop?
What's it fucking matter?
This kid. Let him out, Richie.
And do what with him?
Bring him in the back. See if he's worth letting live.
What the fuck, man? It's only a Discman. You're gonna kill me over a fucking Discman?
No, Kid Doe. I'm gonna kill you for stealing from me.
I didn't steal from you.
The cage begs to differ.
I'm still in the shop, dipshit. I can't steal from you until I walk out the front door. You a lawyer, kid?
Richie smacked the bars with the bat again.
You got a fucking law degree under that hoodie? What can I say?
I shrugged.
I live a life made up of technicalities.
That's so. Explain.
Russ then turned and glared at his brother.
Open the damn cage, Richie.
When he looked back at me, he jumped. Then his eyes narrowed.
Oh, this is interesting.
He smiled at me like a cartoon shark, or a meth-addled whale, considering his size.
Richie, look over there.
Over where?
Doesn't matter. Just look at the kid.
Why?
Because.
That's not a reason.
Is a shotgun enema a reason?
Fuck you, Russ.
Just look over there, will ya? I want to try something.
Fine. I'm looking over here.
Richie turned away, glancing at a wall sign that read, "Beer me up, partner," with an image of a cowboy riding a can of beer. It made no sense, yet made all the sense in the world. Russ's eyes never left mine.
Now look back.
At what?
Richie stared hard at me, confused.
Where the fuck did this little shit come from?
Exactly. But that ain't the question you should be asking.
Oh? And what is, genius?
What the hell are we doing standing here talking to this kid? I don't remember him coming in, and now look, he's locked down like a little thieving bitch.
Richie hit the bars with his bat.
That what you are? A little thieving bitch?
Open the cage and bring him to the back room. And don't take your hands or eyes off of him. I want to try something.
With his eyes still never leaving mine, Russ turned to a surveillance camera and gave it a thumbs up. He then pointed at me, pointed at himself, pointed at Richie, and pointed back at the camera.
What the hell was that all about?
Richie looked from the camera to Russ, then to me.
Shit! Where'd this fucker come from?
Just bring him in back and do not stop looking at him. And be prepared to tell me to watch the camera footage for the front cage when we get back there.
Tell yourself to do that. I ain't your damn secretary.
I'm saying you're gonna have to tell me, because I'll forget.
Russ smiled, then pointed the shotgun at me.
Right, kid? You ain't normal, are you, kid?
Says the fattest man on earth. Motherfucker!
Richie! Just open the cage and bring him to the back.
Richie calmed down enough to unlock the cage and yank me free.
You ain't got a piece on you, do you, kid? Nope. A knife? Box cutter? Taser? Nope. I don't believe you, so get in front. Don't stop walking, unless I say so, or I swear to God I'll bring you right here in the shop. I'm within my rights, you fucking little thieving bitch!
Russ finally turned and walked toward the back. Richie gave me a shove and we followed. When we ran around the counter, Russ unlocked the door and stepped inside. We were right behind him the whole way. When I stepped into the back room, Russ stared at me like he'd never seen me before. Then he smiled.
What were you gonna tell me?
Russ was asking his brother, but his eyes stayed on me.
I've been repeating it in my head over and over. Richie has something to tell you. Richie has something to tell you.
That you're supposed to watch the security tapes.
Richie shoved me all the way into the room. He turned and closed the door. When he turned back, he shouted,
Who the fuck is this little shit?
That's what we're gonna find out.
Russ plopped down into a rolling chair that looked like it wanted to commit suicide. Those were crazy times, almost as crazy as now. The elevator doors open onto the lobby, and I watch 4 more large assholes with automatic weapons turn and stare at me. Well, they may be staring. I can't tell since these dipshits are wearing sunglasses too.
That's him!
And up come the weapons. I dive out of the elevator, my pistol firing round after round after round. One asshole falls, a hole in his forehead, and another cries out, spinning around, his weapon discharging into the asshole standing next to him as blood sprays from the wound in his neck. 3 down before I'm able to scramble for cover behind a tall planter with a barely alive palm tree stuffed into it. Not a bad ratio, taking out 3 of the 4. But that still leaves the 4th asshole, and he's not taking his finger off the trigger. So I wait for his magazine to go dry before standing up and putting one in his right eye. His head rocks back, brain and blood and blown, splattering the hotel lobby, and his sunglasses fly into the air. I watch them tumble end over end over end. When they hit the floor, a small spark flies up from the broken lens.
Well, what we got here?
I walk over to them, making sure to keep one eye on the rest of the lobby, the door to the stairwell, and the bank of elevators. I kneel and pick up the broken glasses. These aren't Ray-Bans. There's circuitry in them. Not that it makes any difference. This pair is destroyed. I stand and walk to one of the other dead assholes and yank off an intact pair. Putting them on, I understand immediately. They're smart glasses, and a picture of me is front and center. Or sorta. Smart glasses are weird, and it takes me a second to get oriented and be able to concentrate on the data being displayed. Target, Kid Doe. Threat level, extreme. Orders, kill immediately. Special instructions, always have image displayed, never turn image off. There are other commands and prompts streaming in a column in my peripheral vision, so I turn my head and all that info moves into my direct line of sight, while still keeping the image of my face front and center. There's a prompt for my full bio, a prompt for known associates, a prompt for current and past jobs, a prompt for current location. I have no idea how to work the glasses, so I toss them to the ground. Looking around the lobby, I clock all of the surveillance cameras. If these guys have tech like this, then I'm probably not being paranoid and thinking someone has hacked the hotel's security and is watching me right now. I give the cameras a middle finger and head straight for the front doors. I could go out the back, but I bet there are just as many assholes watching that door as the front. By going this way, I might catch them off guard, because what idiot goes out the front door? The sliding doors open and I step out into the cool night air, pistol up, eyes searching the parking lot for the next threat. Except there isn't one. No assholes gunning for me, no wounded woman with a grudge waiting to put 2 in my chest and 1 in my head. There are sirens from far off though, so I book ass to my rented ride, hop in, and floor it out of the lot. I drive for miles and miles, leaving the small city in my rearview mirror. Once I'm on the interstate, I look for the first truck stop and pull off there. I park the car at the back of the lot behind a row of tractor trailers, grab my backpack, and toss the keys into the bushes. Then I head inside, pay for a shower, and strip myself clean, checking myself over for any unnoticed wounds. You'd be surprised what adrenaline can hide. I once performed an entire job with a bullet lodged in my ass and never noticed until I got back to the boat I was using and sat down in the captain's chair. Which makes me think of those early years with the brothers Pawn.
Jesus, he really clipped you.
Russ looked me over as I lay on my back on top of a long folding table. We called it the Med Center because it was the table the brothers Pawn used to patch me up when a job got a little hairy, like the job I just returned from.
Hand me the gauze, Richie.
Russ leaned his bulk over me as he studied the wound on my side.
No, wait. Tweezers. There's still shit in there.
Richie didn't move. He only glared at me.
I thought he was some superhero and shit.
Richie's hate for me is evident in his voice.
Shouldn't he have dodged the bullet? What's the point of having the kid around if he can't do his job right? He affects memories, Richie. He's not fucking bulletproof. Yeah, well, he should be. I'd love to, asshole, but I'm not. So can you hand your brother the fucking tweezers?
My outburst hurt like hell and Russ tissed at me.
Shut the fuck up. You're making it worse.
He looked at his brother.
Gonna hand me the...
Russ frowned.
Russ! Look at me!
Russ looked down, startled. He took in the scene, then nodded.
Right. Kid Doe came back from a mission. Patching him up. Got it. Man! Who knows how many times he's ripped us off and we can't remember? I've never ripped you off, asshole. Except for that first day. Where there's a first, there's a second, and a third, and a fourth, and a... Richie, if you aren't gonna help, then leave.
Russ reached back and held out his hand.
Your choice, brother.
After a second's hesitation, Richie snagged the tweezers off a metal tray and slapped them into Russ's palm.
I still think we're gonna regret this.
Richie walked out of the back room as the buzzer for the pawn shop front door rang. Russ smiled down at me.
Don't worry about him. He'll forget all about this and be fine in a minute. No, he won't.
The smile on Russ's face faltered.
What you mean by that, kid? I mean, I've been living with you guys for what, 7 years? 8? You'd know better than me, kid. Hard to say when there's all these blank spots in my memory. It's been 8, and I've watched the two of you. Yeah, just like with everyone. If I'm not in your line of sight, you forget me faster than an ugly chick's digit. Damn it, kid, hold still. Sorry. Nah, it's good. But I can't pick all that shit out of the wound if you're squirming. I wasn't squirming. Shut the fuck up and finish what you were saying. Right, yeah. So I may have been testing you guys these past few years. Testing us? You think I'm a fucking guinea pig or something? Yes, Russ, you're a guinea pig. A 300-pound guinea pig. Fuck you.
He narrowed his eyes.
Almost got it. Hold on. There.
He held up a long thread that had been shoved into my flesh when the bullet tore through my shirt. Luckily, it was just a heavy graze, but the piece of thread could have easily become infected. That's what really gets you with bullet wounds. Not the bullet, but the shit the bullet drags with it. Russ tossed the bloody string on the floor and smiled down at me.
Okay, now tell me what happened.
I started in on what had happened that evening. Arriving at the Marks' home, slipping in through the back, beating the snot out of the guy who owed the Brothers Pawn a good chunk of change, forcing him to open his safe and give me everything inside, shoving the guy in a closet, knowing he'd forget me as soon as the door closed, then being shot as I walked out the back door.
You didn't see who shot you?
Russ held up a bottle of iodine.
Sorry, kid. Do it.
I grit my teeth. Russ poured. I screamed. The back room door burst open and Richie glared in.
What the fuck is going on back here?
He stared at me for a second, then nodded.
Oh, right. You...
He closed the door, and Russ went back to cleaning my wound. He slapped a hunk of gauze against the gouge, then taped it in place.
All done. Get up and put a shirt on.
I swung my legs slowly off the table, tested my balance, then stood up and grabbed the t-shirt from a random pile of clothes on the counter. It turned out to be an old Hank Williams Jr. tour shirt, and I almost tossed it back. But who cares, right?
What's with Richie lately?
I pulled the shirt over my head, wincing with every small movement.
What the fuck?
Russ jumped as he pulled his fist back, his huge body ready to kick my unfamiliar ass.
Russ, it's me! It's Kid!
I threw my hands up, trying not to pose any threat. Russ dead-eyed me, then slowly nodded.
Kid. Right. Yeah, sorry. Shit. I almost knocked your block off. You cocked a fist, I'll give you that. What? You don't think I could take you? You'd have to catch me first. And I hate to break it to you, Russ, but I might be a little faster than...
His hand was around my throat, squeezing hard. I didn't even see him move.
What was that? Were you saying something about being fast?
I slapped at his wrist over and over as spots formed in my vision. Then he let go and knuckled me on the chest.
That's why you got shot, kid.
He tapped his head.
Yeah, I remember the job and the story you told me. I remember more than you think. That's what I've been trying to tell you, Russ. You and Richie aren't forgetting me like you used to. It's like the more you're around me, the more of me sticks in your head. Yeah, well, okay. So what?
I wasn't sure how to tell him. Not then. Not now, even. It's not an easy thing to say.
I think Richie wants me dead.
I stood still and waited for the blow-up. But it didn't come. Russ only shook his head, keeping his eyes on me the whole time.
I don't know about dead, but yeah, he's not a fan, kid. kind of makes it hard to live with the guy if I have to worry about constantly protecting my back.
Russ nodded.
I get that. I do, kid. But there's not a lot to be done about it. We all live here above the shop. It's how things are.
Maybe things could change. Maybe things should change.
I scrunched up my face.
Maybe I should move out and get my own place.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Telling, I guess.
Shit, kid. I don't know about that. You just said that being around you makes me and Richie remember who you are easier.
But you like me, Russ. Richie? Not so much. I think being around me is just pissing him off. And that anger is building every time he sees me. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time he has to remember me, he pulls his piece and tries to put one between my eyes. Personally, I'd rather not worry about getting shot when I get up to piss in the middle of the night.
What the fuck do you know about pissing at night? You get a prostate as large as mine and then you'll know.
I'm not talking prostates, Russ. I'm talking grudges. Richie has held a grudge against me since that first day I was trapped in the cage. Something has festered over the years, and I swear to God he's going to take that festering whatever and use it as a reason to put me down.
I don't know, kid.
He started to look away, and I grabbed his arm.
Pay attention. I'm being serious.
About wanting to move out or about Richie?
Both, Russ. I'm genuinely freaked out.
He studied me.
Was that what distracted you tonight? Did you get shot because you were in your head and not paying attention?
Yeah.
I could have tried to play it off, but Russ wasn't easy to bullshit. Truth was best with him.
I lost my concentration and got dinged for it.
Then that's on you, not Richie.
He rubbed his face and his jowls shuddered.
Okay, let me think about it.
Russ, there's nothing to think about. I'm moving.
I said let me think.
About what? I'm not a prisoner. I can leave whenever I want to.
Something changed in Russ's eyes, and I took a step back.
Right, Russ? You aren't going to try to stop me from leaving, are you?
Kid, you gotta let me think, okay? Give me a day or two, that's all I ask.
You didn't answer the question, Russ. You aren't going to stop me from leaving, right?
He patted me on the shoulder and steered me toward the door.
Go upstairs and get some rest, kid. We'll talk about this tomorrow. You need some sleep.
Russ, come on,
Go get some sleep.
His voice was a low growl, coming up from his belly in a rolling rumble of suppressed rage.
Hey, Russ, chill. I'm sorry I upset you. I'll go lie down.
You do that, kid.
When I left that back room and stepped out onto the main shop, Richie stared me down the whole time I walked over to the side door that led to the stairs up to our shared apartment. For years, I'd lived above the pawn shop. Years of dealing with Richie's bullshit and doing Russ's bidding. Yeah, it was time for a move. All of these memories are like little nicks, small cuts slashing away at my thick skin, opening wounds that I thought were long closed. As I walk out of the truck stop's facilities, I scan the parking lot for my next ride. But there isn't one. Not a single passenger vehicle in sight. A little surprising since there's always someone in the road, even at night. But tonight, it's just truckers.
Need a lift somewhere, friend?
A trucker walks toward me on his way to the facility.
I might.
Give me a few minutes to grab some grub and coffee, use the facilities, and I'll give you a ride. You heading east or west?
Either one works for me.
He raises an eyebrow.
That's so.
He walks by, patting me on the shoulder.
Well, we're all running from something, ain't we?
He's inside before I can say anything else. I sigh because he won't remember me when he comes back out. So I walk toward the truck I think is his, working out my story. Maybe he'll just be as accommodating the second time he meets me. We'll see. But a story is always good. There's a loud cough and I feel the sting of the bullet scrape along my cheek. I'm instantly running as fast as possible. I don't care which direction I go in, as long as it's toward cover. There's another bang and a chunk of the parking lot kicks up in front of me. I keep running. Ducking around an idling truck, I jump up onto the running board and check the passenger door. Unlocked. I'm in and at the wheel in half a second. I have the truck in gear another half a second after that. The windshield becomes a star of cracked glass, but I don't let that slow me down. My foot hits the accelerator and I lurch out of the parking spot. A man comes running from the building, waving his arms over his head. Must be the truck's owner. Sorry, buddy. He's almost to me when the top of his head disappears, sending his bright red hat flying high into the air, followed by blood and what little hair the man's bald head held. The driver's side window explodes, and I cringe as I turn the wheel and aim for the exit. It has to be more of those goons, or that chick sent to kill me, or a new player, or 2 or 3 or however many I have on my tail. For a man who has forgotten the second someone looks away, I sure seem to have a lot of people coming for me. It's a weird feeling, being the center of attention. I'm out on the rural highway and working the clutch as fast as the truck will let me. I'm up to 60 after I take the on-ramp back onto the interstate, shifting until I'm doing a solid 80. I'm taking a risk, since the last thing I need is a cop tagging me for speeding. But I need to put some distance between myself and the truck stop as fast as possible. I'm safe for now in this truck, but I have to ditch it soon. It's too recognizable. I need a Honda or Toyota or Kia or some other generic compact car that looks like every other generic compact car on the road. There's a vibration coming from my backpack, and I grab it off the passenger seat. I get it unzipped and dig around for my phone. The screen says unknown caller, but caller is spelled wrong. It's my handler, the guy I use to set up jobs.
Nick, you are not going to believe this, but...
Is this kid Doe? The voice is female. My handler is not female.
Who the fuck is this?
We met earlier tonight. Don't you remember me? She laughs, and I realize she's making a joke at my expense. She knows who I am and what I can do.
How are you calling from this number?
How do you think I found you? I paid your friend a visit first, got a lot of information out of him before I slit his throat, then started tracking you from his phone.
Bullshit. I can't be tracked like that.
That's what you worry about first? I just said I slit your friend's throat.
You assume he was my friend.
He was, and I am pissed, but I can't let her know that. Whoever this chick is, she won't get the satisfaction of rattling me no matter how rattled I actually feel.
What the fuck do you want?
It's not what I want. It's what I've been paid to do.
Kill me? Is that what you've been paid to do?
Bingo, Ringo. We have a mutual friend who believes you've become a liability. What were his exact words? Oh, right. You're too damn comfortable with who you are, and it's time you went away.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't interpret meanings, kid. I just take the money, do the job, and move on. You understand that, right? We're kind of the same that way.
We're not even close to the same, lady. You have no idea who you are dealing with.
Why? Because I'm supposed to forget who you are, since you're not in my line of sight? Yeah, that doesn't work on me. The feeling in me is a mix of shock, panic, and pleasant surprise. This is different. This is a whole new experience.
How are you doing this?
Doing what? Remembering you? Oh, that's simple, kid. You left a sock behind.
A sock? What the fuck do socks have to do with...
Be seeing you soon, kid. Looking forward to it. The line goes dead. I throw the phone out of the open window. Everything that's happened tonight rolls around in my head like rocks in a dryer set to high temp. It's nothing but noise and heat and anger and fear and I don't know. The sign for a rest area is illuminated by the truck's headlights, and in a mile, I pull off the interstate, parking the stolen truck at the far end of the lot. Then I grab my backpack and leave the truck behind, heading to the other side of the rest area where the cars park. Perfect. There are over a dozen late-night travelers having a pit stop. Plenty of vehicles to choose from. I hit the head, scoping the restroom out for my target. Then I see him washing his hands. Salesman. Easy to tell from the slacks and dress shirt with the rolled up sleeves. He has that road warrior look about him.
What are you driving?
I slide up and start washing my hands in the sink next to his.
Excuse me?
He asks, frowning at me in the mirror.
Huh, sorry. I wasn't trying to be weird. I just noticed a lot of minivans and boring SUVs out there. But you look like you have a better ride. It's just a game I play while traveling. Let me guess. The Acura?
He scoffs.
Lexus. One of the boring SUVs. The blue one or the tan one? Who the fuck are you? You need to...
I punch him in the throat, and he drops to his knees.
Sorry about this.
I rummage through his pockets while he struggles to breathe. I find his keys and pull them out, stuffing them into my own pocket as I frown down at him.
Just relax. Take small, slow breaths and you'll be fine.
I'm out of there and in his Lexus, the blue one, before anyone else enters the men's bathroom. This should give me a little bit of time to get to the next exit. I have my foot to the floor before I've left the rest area, and I'm doing over 90 by the time I merge back onto the interstate. I keep my eyes peeled for the first exit, and when it comes up, I take it fast and race down the off-ramp. It's just my luck that a supermarket is tucked next to the row of gas stations. I pull in toward the back, where the employees park and hop out. I find a Subaru in good condition and jimmy the lock. Once inside, it's easy to hotwire. Subarus have shitty security when it comes to this stuff. I'm back on the interstate in a new ride in less than 10 minutes. The chick's words rattle about my brain. Mutual friend? I don't have mutual friends with anyone because I don't have friends. It's a little hard to maintain relationships with my condition. So I start going through the short list of everyone I know who could even remotely be called a friend. It takes me less than 5 seconds to cross everyone off the list. What the hell is going on? A memory drags itself up out of the depths. A memory I'd rather leave buried.
Come here, kid.
Russ lay in the hospital bed, all sorts of wires and tubes and crap connected to his huge bulk.
My throat hurts from the tube they had down in it, and I don't want to have to yell.
I moved closer to the hospital bed, even though the last place I ever wanted to be was in a hospital. Juvie and jail are better than hospitals. Being forgotten in jail is a blessing. Being forgotten in a hospital means I am constantly having to explain to people over and over and over who I am and why I'm here. I'm sitting down in the chair next to Russ's bed when the door opens and a nurse walks in.
Mr. Rush, who's your handsome visitor?
She didn't really look at me at all. Just started checking readings on the dozen or so machines that Russ was hooked up to.
My son.
Russ said those two words without hesitation. I jolted at the word son, and Russ gave me a weak but warm smile.
Well, you're lucky to have him, Mr. Rush.
The nurse was still checking readings, still not looking at me.
Not everyone has children willing to drop everything and visit their old man in the hospital.
Then she fixed me with her gaze, and I almost flinched.
It's good you're here. You two should talk as much as possible. How's talking supposed to help this broke-down heart of mine? It may not help your heart, but it will help your soul.
Her eyes were still on mine.
Take the time to connect when you can, while you still have that time.
She looked away and patted her pockets.
Well, that about does it, Mr. Rush. Do you and your son need anything? Are you hungry? I know you're still on liquids right now, but the cafeteria's beef broth isn't that bad. I'm fine, darling. Thanks. Then I'll leave you two alone.
She rested her hand on my shoulder as she passed by.
Keep him calm and relaxed if you can, okay? Yeah, sure.
She left the room and I stood up quickly.
I'll be right back.
I followed her out into the hall.
Nurse? Excuse me, nurse? Yes, Mr. Rush.
She turned to face me. She sniffed and rubbed at her nose.
Is something wrong with your father? The way you were talking in there, it was like you don't think he has much time left.
She looked around, then leaned in close.
I'm not supposed to say this, but your father is in acute heart failure. The surgery helped, but the reality is that he only has days left, a week at the most. What about more surgery? Or a transplant? He barely survived the last surgery. His body won't take any more. And as for a transplant, not to sound cruel, but the transplant committee has several other candidates whose lifestyles are a little more healthy.
You're saying he's too fat to save?
I'm saying that if the committee has to choose between a 16-year-old girl with the rest of her life ahead of her, or your father, who is in his 70s and has several other serious health concerns to deal with, well, it's not a hard choice.
That's pretty cold.
Which is why they probably like it when a doctor says these things instead of an exhausted, overworked nurse.
She sniffed and rubbed at her nose again.
Go in and spend time with your father, Mr. Rush. Take the time while you have it.
She sniffed some more and turned away. Then she turned back and smiled at me.
And don't worry, I know you're not his actual son. I'll keep it between us, since the hospital has a strict, immediate family-only policy.
I started to protest, to lie through my teeth, but her smile made me think otherwise.
Okay, yeah, thanks. No problem.
I did what she said, and went and sat with Russ, talking with him as much as I could in between his naps. And he napped a lot. For the 3 days I was there, he was asleep for most of it, waking up occasionally to ask about the pawn shop and about business. Then he just didn't wake up. Richie didn't hold a funeral or memorial or anything. Just had Russ cremated and threw his ashes in an urn that had been sitting on the pawn shop shelves since I first walked in that door. No one wants to buy a used urn, no matter how cheap it is. Russ had bequeathed a few things to me in a letter he'd left behind. It wasn't a formal will or anything, but it showed he cared enough to write it down. That night was the last time I saw the pawn shop, the last time I saw Richie, and the way he followed me around the upstairs apartment and glared at me with a hate I'd rarely ever seen come from any human being, it probably wasn't a bad idea we went our separate ways.
You killed him, you know.
Richie followed me down the stairs. That night, he never left me out of his sight.
You broke his fucking heart when you moved out. Go ahead and blame me, Richie. I don't fucking care. Oh, you're gonna fucking care, kid. I will make sure you fucking care.
I shook my head, then walked out of his life forever. Or so I thought. As the sun starts to rise, I pull the Subaru off at the most rural exit I can find and drive until I see what I'm looking for. I park next to one of the rundown pumps and turn off the engine. There's a small convenience store which has seen better days, and attached to the outside wall of the store is a payphone, because places like this out in the sticks still have people who need a good old-fashioned landline every now and then.
Can I get some quarters for the phone?
The clerk doesn't even look up from the porno mag he's staring at, just holds out his hand. I slap $1 in his palm, and instead of opening the register, he reaches under the counter and comes out with 4 quarters. Must be a frequent request. Back outside, with the sky turning pink to orange, I make the call. It goes straight to voicemail. It's me. I'm at exit 238. I'm over this bullshit. Come and get me. I hang up, knowing the message will get to the chick and whoever else is after me. It was my handler's number, and I already know it's being monitored. I go back inside, buy a cup of horrible black coffee and a stale sticky bun. I've finished both and pissed in the toxic waste dump of a bathroom by the time a white Honda Civic pulls into the lot. Without hurrying, I walk to the Subaru that is still parked at the pumps, grab the hose, flip the switch, and act like I'm filling the tank. A second car pulls in behind the Civic, a car I know. The chick gets out of the Civic.
You're making my job too easy.
Somehow, I'm not surprised it's the nurse from way back when. Something in my subconscious put it all together. How she didn't ever forget me, even when she left Russ's room. How she kept sniffing and rubbing her nose when she was around me. The same exact sniff I heard in the hotel room when all this went to shit. What are you? She walks toward me. She doesn't have a gun in her hand, but odds are there's one tucked into her waistband behind her back. Why are you doing this?
The same reason you are. It pays well.
She's getting closer.
A lot better than what a nurse makes. But why me? I thought we had a connection. That was a long time ago, kid.
and only for a few days. You don't know me. You don't know what my life has been like, never able to forget anyone or anything. My head is filled with faces and names. But mostly smells, right? That's how you don't forget me. You smell me. Like a bloodhound. That voice I'll never forget, and I looked toward the second car, knowing the source immediately. Richie! I nodded the chick. What's the deal, man? I told you, kid. I told you that you'd care. Russ died a long time ago, Richie, and you still blame me? It's fucking weird, kid. But the night you left is the night I stopped forgetting you. It's also the night that my fucking nightmare began. You know, I can't think of my fucking brother without memories of you coming back. He slaps his head. Hard. You're attached to every memory of Russ like a fucking parasite. It took me years to get her trained so she could track you down and take you out. Now here we are. Well, she accomplished the first part flawlessly, Richie. So fucking kudos to you on that. Then I look at the chick who was now only a few feet away. But the second part? You failed miserably. She goes for her gun, while I aim the gas nozzle at her and squeeze the handle, spraying her face with 93 octane. The woman screams and wipes at her face again and again. She rubs her eyes as she gasps for air. I just stand in front of her. When her eyes open, all blurry and red, she frowns. Who the fuck are you? She tries to lift her gun. I step in and slap the flat of my hand against her throat, taking the gun from her grip. Then I put 2 in her chest and 1 in her head before aiming the pistol at Richie. Except he's already back in his car and speeding away as fast as he can. Doesn't matter. I know who's fucking with me now. I'll catch up with him later. What the fuck? The clerk is standing at the store's entrance, eyes huge. What the fuck did you do? I turn and put 2 in his chest. Then I walk over to him, fish car keys out of his pocket, and put a round in his forehead. I head back inside the store, find what I need on the counter, and walk back out to the pumps, flicking the lighter with my thumb. When it catches, I toss it onto the chick's body and step back as a whump fills the air. Then I go and find the clerk's car, a very nondescript Kia, and get the fuck out of there. I'm almost back to the interstate when a fireball erupts in my rearview mirror. Richie must have realized what the nurse could do during those few days at the hospital. He's an idiot and an asshole, but he's not completely stupid. He figured out that the one sense the brain caters to the most, the sense tied directly to memory, is the sense of smell. As long as that chick could smell me, she could remember me. I bet that car back there had some of my clothes in it. Definitely more than just a sock. She must have been huffing kid dough for miles and miles and miles as she tracked me down. Well, it's time I did some tracking down too. And when I find Richie, I'll make sure he never forgets who I am. At least for the few hours he'll have left to remember anything. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to follow or subscribe and share the show with a fellow horror fan. I'll see you in the next one.